Good morning and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants event. My name is Joe Grabowski. I'll be your host for today. We've got a jam-packed December between now and the holidays coming up. If you head over to exploringbytheseat.com, you can find all the events that we have connecting with scientists, explorers, adventurers, and conservationists. In fact, we have several events still coming up celebrating big cats, which is something we like to do every December, and we'll be taking some trips to Zambia and Botswana still before the end of the school year. Today, we're taking a virtual field trip to one of our favorite spots to visit, the Toucan Rescue Ranch in Costa Rica. We're going to be joined by Andrea very shortly, who's going to introduce us to some of the native wildlife that they have there. So the Toucan Rescue Ranch has been rescuing and rehabilitating native Costa Rican wildlife, of course, things like toucans and sloths, but also lesser known creatures like otters and porcupines and kinkajous and things like that. So really excited for today's event. I'm going to bring Andrea in live with us now. Hey, Andrea, how are you doing today?
Hi, Joe. How are you?
Good, good. It's always great to see you. We've got a great group of classrooms with us today, and we're excited to see a little bit of the ranch today and learn about some of the animals.
Awesome. It's always a pleasure to have you guys and, to answer all of the questions from the schools. It's always super, super fun. So I am really excited to hear all the questions from all of the classrooms.
All right. Well, Andrea, I'm going to pass it to you, let you take over for a little bit, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, awesome. So hello, you guys. Welcome to the Toucan Rescue Ranch. I really hope you guys enjoy this experience. We're going to get to see some sloths and toucans, so we're going to get to go through one of our most popular programs, the Saving Sloths Together program, which is how we raise the baby sloths. But before I go with the babies, I actually do want to show you guys some of our permanent residents. There's one Thai that is having breakfast right now, so give me just a second. And here he is. So you can see those teeth from up close. So Thai is a two-finger sloth. Most of the sloths that I will show you are two-finger sloths. Hopefully we can see baby reggae, which is a three-fingered, and we can see some of the differences between the species. So right now, as I mentioned, Thai is having some breakfast. So you can see some really good vegetables over there. Of course, sloths, they mainly eat leaves and flowers and fruit sometimes on the forest. But these guys, in order for them to get a little more protein and nutrients and everything, we also provide them with steamed green beans and carrots. So I don't know if you guys like your vegetables, but these guys definitely do love the green beans and carrots. Thai is kind of like a picky eater. You're probably wondering what this yellow thing is. That's a scrambled egg. And I say that he is a picky eater because he is one of the permanent residents that actually do not like to eat eggs. So he will probably leave them behind. So you're probably wondering why a sloth has a scrambled egg on his plate. So two-finger sloths, besides of eating leaves, flowers, and fruits, they can be considered opportunistic predators, which means that in the wild, people have seen them eating insects, lizards, and even birds' eggs, which is really, really incredible. So they're just hanging around in the tree, and if they see a nest over there, a bird's nest, they will go and they will steal those eggs if they have the opportunity. So he's definitely enjoying that carrot. So I do want to show you guys some differences between two and three-fingered. You're probably listening to me saying two-fingered instead of two-toed sloth, that I know that a lot of people call them. I say two-fingered because it's actually on their fingers that they have two. So two-finger sloths have two fingers, just like Thai, but all sloths have three toes on their feet. So this is Thai's, I think, left leg. I really don't know. These guys are quite like contortionists. They really like flexible, so sometimes their legs do not make sense. Right, Ty? Look at those fingers. So I do want you guys to pay attention to a couple things. First, look at those claws. You can see that they have really, really big and sharp claws. Of course, since they're always hanging from upside down, they need to be super, super strong. So their fingers and their hands act like hooks, so they can be hanging like this on the top of the trees, and most of the times they will not fall. Sometimes accidents can happen, as if with everyone. um, oh, he's going up. Are you finished eating? Hello. That's a nice close up. Thank you, Ty. So since they're so strong, if you try to go like super close to a sloth, they will try to grab you, and if they grab you by the arm or something, it will hurt quite a bit. I'm not talking by experience because I have never been attacked, if you will, by a sloth. I'm actually really happy about that, but I have heard that it hurts quite a bit. And also, if you pay attention to when he's eating, you can also see some really, really big teeth. So two-finger sloths have molar teeth that they will use to chew on the leaves. And they also have fangs or canine teeth. So with their fangs, what they do is that they defend themselves with those really large fangs that you can see there. So if they're feeling threatened by a human or another animal, they will defend themselves, trying to bite them. So you never want to bother an angry sloth, believe me. One of our permanent residents, Georgie, he is feisty. When he is in a bad mood, you do not want to mess up with Georgie. Not even like from in front of his enclosure. Once I was trying to take a picture of him when he was pooping, and I think he did not like me invading his privacy, and he like went super super fast trying to stretch his arm from across the enclosure and trying to bite me. Don't do that, Ty. You're a good boy. Then we've got Stevie over here. And with Stevie, I want to talk a little bit about our Saving Sloths Together program. So, as Joe said, we specialize on toucans, sloths, and some other animals, and we're always trying to rehabilitate them in order for them to go back into the wild. So we get to rescue a lot of adults and baby sloths and other baby animals. Hi, Stevie. um, and so we do try to give them like a second chance so they can go back into the wild. With the baby sloths, we're gonna get some really, really cute baby sloths. With the baby sloths, they go through certain stages before they can get to go back into the wild. Stevie was one of those babies. She was raised by Leslie, our founder, and she went through all of those stages. She went to preschool, elementary school, then high school, and lastly college. And she dropped out of college. So she decided that she wanted to do her territory inside the volunteer house and the kitchen, which is of course not a good idea. I mean, wild animals, they shouldn't be that close to people. So when we rewild an animal, when we take them back into the wild, we just try for them to have natural behaviors and to be afraid or at least not care about people in the extent that they do not go inside houses. So since Stevie was doing that thing, we just had to take the decision to keep her here with us, and now she is an ambassador animal for her species, which is also really, really important. So she has a really, really important job, right, Stevie? She also loves to eat flowers, just like the one she's eating now. Now that she's eating a flower, you can also see here a bit of a close-up to her eye. So you guys can see that her eyes are actually quite small, and so are her pupils. So sloths, they depend even more on their sense of smell, and that's why they have such a big piggy nose, rather than their eyesight. Their eyesight is really, really poor. So we've had the opportunity to rewild sloths that were blind, and after a while they got to go back into the wild because they were smelling doing really, really good by themselves in the wild. Hi, look at that piggy nose. Then another thing that we can see with our permanent resident sloths, such as Mealy was the first one we got to rescue, is that these guys love to be inside like their buckets, sleeping underneath their blankets. Especially because the sloths cannot regulate their own body temperatures. So if we're cold, we start shivering or we just go and look for a sweater. Of course, at least in the wild, sloths do not have sweaters or blankets or buckets. So in the wild, what they would do is that they would curl up in a ball and try to keep themselves warm. But these guys are super spoiled, so they get to have these blankets. Um, so Mealy, most of her time, she will be wrapped in between her blankets, and she is the one who knows how to do this. Almost though all of our permanent resident sloths know how to wrap themselves up in the blanket, just like Mila there. So let's get going and watching the baby sloths. Joe, I don't know if there are any questions as I walk to the nursery.
Sure. Why don't I pop in? We'll take a few questions while you do that. And the signal cleared up. The signal's much better now, Andrea.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Great to hear.
Okay. Well, let's bring in a few groups here. Let's bring in Miss McGinnis's crew, fourth graders in Maine. Hey, Maine, how are we doing today?
Good.
All right.
Hi, my name is Colin. What is the funniest thing you've ever seen a sloth do?
I think I'll just check with me. I think he said, what was the funnest thing you've seen a sloth do?
Say funniest. Funniest.
The funniest.
They're actually quite funny. A lot of people, they see sloths and they think that they're super boring, but they're actually quite funny. One of my favorite babies, he's now in college, so he's one step almost going back into the wild. His name is Cronus. Cronus was a really wild baby and a really special baby because he didn't like to be like in the bucket or in the structure with the other babies. He always wanted to be on the bucket filled with leaves. So even though the babies had a lot of leaves in their structure, Cronus decided that he wanted to sleep inside the bucket with leaves. So whenever he was hungry, he would just wake up and start munching on the leaves. Sometimes when the vet came in to see where Cronus was because they didn't know where he was not in the structure. You would have to look inside the bucket with leaves, and he would be sleeping on the bottom. So he had blankets of leaves, basically. It was really, really fun.
All right, let's grab another question here. Let's go to, where did my list go? Ah, there it is. Let's go to, we've got a crew joining us in British Columbia, some third and fourth graders. Let me pop them in. There they are, Miss Vanek's crew. How are we doing, BC?
Over here, sweetheart. We're great. It's a snow day for us today.
Oh, very cool.
A snow day.
Okay, girl, you can take your mask off, honey.
What is the climate like for the sloths in
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica?
What's the climate like there?
Oh, okay. Thank you. So right now we should be starting to the dry season. So that would mean that we should be getting more sun, a little more wind, but more sun. Although right now it is getting a little cold, so we're around like 66 degrees, which is not that cold for you guys at least. But at least me, I'm freezing some days. And with these babies, since I told you that they cannot regulate their body temperature, when it gets really, really cold, we have to put even more like heating pads and everything for them, because if they get to a certain temperature that is really, really cold for them, their body will start like shutting down a little bit, so they can conserve energy and they can be like functioning. So we cannot feed them if they're really, really cold, because their stomach, like it's not like a priority for them. Their priority would be like the heart and lungs, like keep on breathing and pumping blood, right? So that's something that we have to take care of. But yeah, right now it is starting to rain again.
All right, we'll grab another question. We'll go to Mrs. Vise's crew in Canada. They're joining us from Burlington.
All right, you can take your mask off too, Nina. Why do sloths have such big noses?
Why do they have such big noses? Okay. So I like to call them piggy noses because they look like a piggy nose. And it's because they have a wonderful sense of smell. So since they don't have a really good eyesight, their eyes are not that good, they have to start smelling all around them to see where their food is. So for example, those flowers that they were eating, they were sniffing those flowers since the moment I got there. They knew that there were some flowers in their enclosure there. So you can see them always like moving their noses, trying to smell their surroundings.
All right, Andrea, are we close to the babies, or do you want to take a few more questions?
No, I am actually here with the babies, and there's one that is super active right now. So let me flip my camera over, and this is Colin, right? Colin. See, yeah, I'm still learning how to identify these babies. But this is Colin. Colin is one of our 7 babies here at the nursery and preschool. So you can see that he's quite tiny. He is learning how to climb. So now he is a preschooler, which means that he is becoming a little more independent. So in this structure that we made for them, you can see that they have branches and ropes that go all the way around. And we also put their bucket underneath. So when they feel like climbing, just like Colin right now, they can start exercising a little bit. Um, and we, of course, want them to start doing exercises and start moving around and start showing some wild behaviors, because that's something really important for us to see. I'm pretty sure that Colin, he lives with Tallulah, who is sleeping. Colin and Tallulah will be troublemakers for real. Right now, it's probably too cold for Tallulah, and I think she was just fed, so she is probably like full. But sometimes you can see them playing with each other and fighting with each other, which is really fun to watch. Hi, Colin. You can also see with Colin. Whoops, that was a good one. You can also see with Colin that he has a really big belly. So that means that Colin is almost ready to go to the bathroom. So sloths, they only go to the bathroom around like once a week or twice a week. Sometimes they go every other week. So you can tell, definitely can tell, when a sloth really wants to go to the bathroom. These babies are also learning how to go to the bathroom on like the trees and on the ground, because that's like one of the only times sloths go to the ground to poop and pee. So we take them outside on the grass over here, so they will start pooping. In the wild, if they were with their mothers would be the ones to teach them how to poop. So since they're always holding from their mother's belly, when their mother goes to the ground to poop, they will start smelling their mother's poop and pee, and then they will know that it's time for them to also go to the toilet. You're being super active, Colin. That's really good to see. We also have Pringle and Tavita. This is Pringle and this is Tavita. Pringle is my favorite baby. He's super adorable. Then we've got Serena, that is covered in between her blankets, but she's just sleeping here. Something pretty fun about Serena is that she's always sleeping like butt up. So this is one of her legs, not like her feet, and she's covered in between the blankets. And I saw that baby Reggae, the 3-finger sloth, was a little bit awake, just a little bit. He's over here, so hopefully he will show us his face, or maybe not. I think he's too cold for that. But you can see at least the difference on their hair. So you can see that his hair is a little bit like more wiry than the 2-finger sloths, and it's also a little like grayish. Instead, the 2-finger sloths have like a brownish or blonder hair. He's definitely trying to get cover here. So over here at the nursery and preschool, the babies start learning how to climb, and they're still fed every 4 hours, which is quite a bit. So our caretakers, they now switch turns, and they each of them, like some of them have night shifts, some of them have day shifts. I do have to tell you guys, taking care of a baby sloth is a lot of trouble, a lot of work, and also requires a lot of patience. Especially with you, Colin. So I can show you one of the caretakers, Giselle. Te voy a enseñar un toque. She's feeding one of her tiniest babies, baby Angel. So you can see that to feed them, we need to use these syringes and these miracle nipples that we call. We are giving them goat's milk together with Pedialyte, which is something that you would drink if you were not feeling that well and you would need like fluids. And we have to go super, super slow on the syringe, just taking care and just making sure that they will not like aspirate the milk. So sometimes when you're drinking juice, for example, if you drink it too fast, it can go in the wrong direction and you will start coughing. That can also happen with the sloths. But if that happens, they can get really, really bad, and we do not want that. So we have to be on their own pace and respecting that and being super, super patient with them. So, Joe, I don't know if there are any more questions.
Yeah, let's bring in a few more of the classes who haven't had a chance yet.
Okay.
We'll take some of their questions. So let's see. We need to visit Mr. Lindmark's class. They are in Canton, Illinois. Looks like some fourth graders. I'm going to bring them in now. Hey, fourth graders, how we doing?
Good.
Can't see me.
My question is, why do sloths why do some sloths have 2 fingers and why do some sloths have 3?
Well, that depends on the species. So there are in total 6 different species of sloths. They are divided in 2 families. So there is a family that has 3 fingers, and there's a family that has 2 fingers. So Colin is on the family of the 2-fingered sloth, and Reggae, the little baby that was sleeping here, he is from the 3-fingered sloth family. So as I explained earlier, all sloths from both from both families have 3 fingers that you can see here, and those are on their legs, on their feet, and on their hands. That's where it changes. So 2-fingered sloths only have 2 fingers on their hands, and 3-fingered sloths, like Reggae, would have 3 fingers on their hands as well.
Okay, let's grab another classroom here and take their question. We're going to go to Fergus now. We've got some 6th graders hanging out with us in Fergus. I'm going to bring them into the call. There we go.
Hi there.
Hey, everyone.
Hello.
What's your favorite kind of animal or sloth that you've treated?
Animal. I always get that question, and I don't know how to answer it. I know I love all of them. All of them hold a special place in my heart. I know that from the babies, Pringle is definitely my favorite baby Pringle. The adults, I love Ty and Georgie. They're one of my favorites. And yeah, I have like a favorite of each species here.
So are the sloths your favorite, Andrea, or is there another Costa Rican animal that tops the sloth?
I would say maybe the cats.
Like the ocelot?
Yes.
Very cool. So we have Miss Holden's crew. They are joining us from Spruce Grove, Alberta. Some 3rd graders, and they're not connected, but they're in the call. So if you want to type me a question or two in the sidebar, I'll grab it for you. And while we wait for that, I'm going to grab a question or two from YouTube. So we've got some classrooms in Arizona joining us, a couple classrooms in Arizona. And the first question here, they want to know, okay, so these ones want to know about the tongue. This is Robert wants to know, do they have long tongues like anteaters?
Not as anteaters, but they do have long tongues. So they're not made, if you will, Like for example, the anteaters, they need a really, really long tongue so they can go inside the termite and the ant nests and they can grab all of those insects, right? But the sloths, they do not eat nectar or those insects, so they really do not need like a really, really big tongue, but they do have like a longer tongue.
All right. So I've got a question from our group in Alberta here. They just put it in the chat. And they're wondering about sloths, like the ones we've been seeing. How long could they live in the wild?
That is actually a really nice question, and I cannot give you an exact answer. So there's not a lot of information regarding sloths. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of people that want to research sloths, even though they're super, super cool animals. So there's not like an actual lifespan average that I can give you. Although we know that it should be somewhere around like 10, not like 20 to 30 years. So our oldest sloth, Mealy, she is 14 years old. So we consider her like an older sloth for sure. I know that there is a sloth on a German zoo that is now 50 years old, but that's like the only report I know of such an older sloth.
Okay, one more quick question here about sloths and the bathroom. Do they go to the bathroom in a special way?
It's actually really funny to see them going to the bathroom. If you guys go and check us out on YouTube, you can go and find the Sloth Airman games, the Poop Off Challenge. You will see some really, really fun videos of some babies pooping. So the Sloth Airman games is a fundraiser that we do every year. But anyways, they most of the times hug like a tree. So they hug it, they do like a wiggle butt, they wiggle their butts a little bit, and then they start like feeding first, and then they start pooping.
All right. And is it true they only go to the bathroom once a week?
It is true. And sometimes like they can go every other week, which is impressive. And just by going once a week to the bathroom, they can lose up to 3 times their weight. So
Wow.
lucky them.
So, Andrea, what do you say? Do you want to check out the toucans? And while you're going over there, we'll do the little quiz together, the Kahoot quiz. I'll do it for the
Yeah,
students.
of course, of course.
All right, excellent. Well, for the students who are joining us, I'm going to pop up a link on the screen here, kahoot.it. If you head over there right now, we're going to do a Kahoot quiz. It's going to ask you for a PIN number. I'm going to pop that up on the screen shortly. And then we'll see how well we've been paying attention so far to all the great facts that Andrea has given us. So I'm just going to share my whole screen here. There we go. I'm going to pop that PIN number up on the screen. You should see it now. There it is, 572-0484. If you're lucky enough in your classroom and you have Chromebooks and tablets at your desks, well, you can join on one of those. If not, your teacher can pop it up at the front of the room and you can shout out your answers, or you don't have to do either of those things. You can just play along and shout your answer out with your crew. I see a few individual students joining. I see Miss Vanna's class is in there joining us.
This is going to be fun.
Another maybe 15, 20 seconds, see how many more students we get in here, and then we will take the quiz live. There are 4 questions. If you get it right, you get points. If you get it right fast, you get even more points. If you get it wrong, but you do it really quickly, well, you still don't get any points for that. All right, over 50 students already and climbing.
Wow.
Okay, I think it's slowly starting to slow down, so I'm going to get things started. Reminder, 20 seconds for each question, and we will see who comes out on top, who is our sloth champion. Here we go. Question 1. We're throwing a true or false your way. 2-fingered sloths will sometimes eat insects or small lizards. Was that true or false? Will the 2-fingered sloths sometimes eat insects or small lizards? A couple more seconds. All right. Couldn't fool most of the students, Andrea. Most of them said true. They will
Nice.
sometimes have those other bits of protein.
Mm-hmm.
Galaxy. Galaxy is in the lead, but everybody else is right there, right in behind. So let's see what happens on question 2. How many times a week do sloths climb down to go to the bathroom? Every day, once a week, once a month, or once a year? So like Andrea mentioned, if you go to the Toucan Rescue Ranch website, you can see the Sloth Ironman Games where the sloths were competing in these great competitions, and one of them was the poop off. So if you really want to learn a little bit more, you can check that out. 86 of our students went with once a week.
Nice.
And that it changes the leaderboard down below, but Galaxy managed to hold on to the top spot. So here we go with question 3, another true and false coming your way. All sloths have 3 fingers and 3 toes. True or false? All sloths have 3 fingers and 3 toes. Here we go. All right. Most students went with false. We know that some of them, like our friends we were seeing today, have 2 fingers, and then they all have those 3 claws on the back, those 3 toes.
Mm-hmm.
Galaxy still. Let's see what happens on our final question. Anything can happen. Sloths' eyesight isn't very good. They have really good senses of taste, hearing, smell, or touch. What did Andrea talk about? And this picture kind of gives you a clue. If you look at a really prominent feature on this picture. All right. Good job. Most students, 94, went with a really good sense of smell. Let's take a look at our final podium. 3rd place, we have Sloth. Good job, Sloth. 2nd place, Dragonface. Dragonface holding down 2nd place. And Galaxy was our tape-to-tape winner from question 1 to question 4. Good stuff. All right, let's come back from that screen share. There we go. And Andrea, are we ready to check out some more of our animal friends?
Yes. Good job, Galaxy. Thank you for paying attention, and thank you all you guys for participating as well. So I am here with Honey. Honey is one of our toucans here at the Toucan Rescue Ranch. So let me flip my camera, and there you go. She is up there cleaning her bill. Hopefully she will come a little closer. But Honey is a rainbow-billed toucan. So in Costa Rica, we have 6 different species of toucans. All of them are really, really different from each other. So some of them are really, really colorful, just like Honey. Some of them are not that colorful. We're going to get to see, hopefully, some other toucans that are not as colorful as Honey, at least not on their bill. But all of them are really, really cool. So toucans, they're considered to be omnivore animals, which means that they eat fruits and meat. Would you stop moving? She's on top of her perch there. And so their main diet is based on fruits. They really, really like to eat fruits, and they're actually really good seed dispersers, which means that when they're pooping, they poop off the seeds, and they are the ones responsible, together with so many other animals that eat fruits, that there are so many trees living on the rainforest. Okay, she's giving me a hard time here. But they also need a little protein in their diet. So they can also eat insects, lizards, smaller mammals, smaller birds, eggs from other birds, snakes, frogs, you guys name it. They can eat a bunch of different things. So they're really, really amazing. Sadly, though, when people have them as pets, which is not a good thing. I mean, these guys should be living in the forest. Some people do not give them the correct diet. So to give you guys an example, some people only give them bananas or papaya, which, yeah, they're yummy, and they are like the fruits that they eat, but they should also start eating some other things. and they will be like super malnourished, and then you will see that they're getting sick because their colors on their bill start fading away. You can see that Honey is an extremely active toucan. And with all of these jungle that she has in her enclosure, she's actually super hard to catch up with. Sometimes she's really easygoing. But today, I think she's a little bit shy. She's going back to the front. So she's up there. So if you ever come to Costa Rica, okay, I'm gonna go and find some other toucans. If you ever come here to Costa Rica, if you want to see the rainbow-billed toucans, sometimes you can start hearing like a frog noise, so like frog singing. Make sure that if it's in the middle of the day, not to think it is actually a frog, because rainbow-billed toucans like Honey, they make a frog-like sound. So they're really fun to hear. They go like wee, wee, wee. So yeah, a lot of people tend to confuse them over with frogs. And some people here in Costa Rica even call them frog birds because of that. Then let me go over here to show you some other toucans. Here at the ranch we have 4 different species. Pretty sure that Junior will want to come closer. Hi, Junior. I know. So this is Junior. Junior is a chestnut mandible toucan. So chestnut mandible toucans are the largest species of toucan we have in Costa Rica, and the second largest species of toucan in the world. Oops. The largest species would be the toco toucan, which only lives in Brazil and in some other parts of South America. So you can see that Junior does not have such a colorful bill like Honey, but he is quite big, and he also wants to attack me and my phone. Don't do that, please. So we had to rescue Junior a couple months ago. He was taken to our release site, which is another property that we have, and the people who took him there told us that they found Junior by himself, and then they thought that he was being abandoned by their parents. So we were starting to take care of him, and we noticed that his story didn't match up with his behavior, because he was really used to people. He was really friendly towards people, and you can still see that he's really interested in me, which should not happen. Just like Honey, she's not that interested in me. And yeah, sadly, he also has like some other behaviors that did not make him a good candidate to go back into the wild. So now one of his jobs is teaching us, helping us to teach you guys about toucans, such as the chestnut mandible. Then over here, let's see if Scooby, he's one of my favorites. Of course he's gonna come to the front. So Scooby here, he is a fiery-billed aracari. Aracaris are really interesting species of toucans. They live in families, and so in each family there's only one mom and one dad, and the other members of the family will help them raise the babies. And I say that this is super interesting because this is not like a behavior that you commonly find in birds. You commonly find that with mammals, such as the wolves or wild dogs. He was being kept as a pet, so he's also really friendly towards people. Although I know that he's not like a volunteer favorite, because every time the volunteers have to go inside his enclosure, he will start pecking on their heads, which is not such a good experience. Right, Scooby? Troublemaker? Thank you for posting so much. And then lastly, we've got the colored aracaris here. So they look a little bit like the fiery-billed aracaris, but you can see that Gobbles here on the front, he does not have like those orange colors on his bill like Scooby. They're also slightly smaller than the fiery-billed aracaris. Another really cool thing about the fiery-billed is that you can only find them in southern Costa Rica and a small part of western Panama, which means that they are an endemic species. Being an endemic species means that their distribution range where they're found is like a really, really small space. Instead, the colored araucaries, you can find them basically in a lot of different places here in Costa Rica, almost throughout Costa Rica, and in other countries.
All right, Andrew, what do you say we squeeze in a few more questions?
Yeah, of course.
All right, let's hop back to Mrs. McGinnis's crew and see if they have another question for us.
Hi, I'm Q, and my question is, how do sloths groom themselves?
They actually do not groom themselves. They only scratch themselves. But I have never seen like a sloth grooming each other or grooming themselves. Mealy, for example, she always looks like she came out of the hairdresser because her hair looks incredibly beautiful, even though she's wet or something. But then you see Georgie or even Ty, and their hair is always a mess. So they really do not groom each other or themselves.
All right, let's jump over to Miss Vannick's crew and see if they have another question for us.
Come on over. You can take your mask off, bud.
I have a question. How about the sloths? How long can they swim?
I don't know, like in time, but I do know that sloths are really, really good swimmers. They're actually faster when swimming rather than when like climbing or crawling on the ground. Three-finger sloths are the best swimmers, though. And sometimes, like if a male hears a female calling him, then he will definitely jump into the water and try to go and swim to the other side where the female is calling him.
All right, let's jump back to Fergus and Miss Olszewski's group. Let's bring them into the call. There they are.
What's the rarest type of sloth?
The rarest. I would say it would be the pygmy sloth. Pygmy sloths live in Panama, in an island in Panama. Only there, nowhere else in the world. They're actually quite like funny looking sloths. And something really, really like cool and something that makes them special is that the algae and the moths that are all over their bodies, because they have like the whole ecosystem of their bodies, they can only be found over there, only on the pygmy sloth, in no other sloth in the world, which is pretty cool.
All right, very cool. Mrs. Holden's crew, if you have another question for us, feel free to type one in the chat. I'm going to grab something from YouTube here. Let's see. From our other group, Ruben wants to know, this is another group in Arizona, wants to know if the sloths ever walk around on the ground or if they don't really like that.
They really do not do much. They really do not walk as much, and they definitely do not walk like a dog or a cat would. They most likely will crawl, and they're really, really slow when crawling on the ground. That's why a lot of them get like hit by cars when they're trying to cross the street, which is really sad.
All right. And then Miss Holden's group in Alberta have one more question for us. They'd like to know, do you know how many toucans have been at the Toucan Rescue Ranch to be rehabilitated?
Oh, I really do not know that. I know that with sloths, in the last couple of years, it has been more than 200 sloths. But with toucans, I really do not know a number.
That's okay. I know it's probably been a lot. And I can even remember times that we visited and there's been baby toucans, which was really cool.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes we get baby toucans. Right now, we don't have any babies, which is a good thing if you think about it. But yeah, right now, we don't have any baby toucans.
Okay. One more question about the toucans. One of our Bella wants to know, is their skin underneath their fur, or underneath their feathers? Can you see through the skin underneath their feathers?
Not really. Like their body is filled with covered with all of those feathers, so it's not that easy to see their skin. If you blow, like for example, when we take in a toucan or another bird, and we're trying to the vets are trying to see what's wrong with the bird, they will start blowing, and their feathers will come out, and you can see part of their skin.
All right. Well, I want to start off with a big shout out to, actually, no, I do want to just touch on one more thing, Andrea. At the Toucan Rescue Ranch, everything you do is done through donations, and it's done through tours with the general public. And so, what's a neat way that classrooms could help out if they wanted to at the Toucan Rescue Ranch?
Okay, well, they can always jump in on a virtual classroom, which can be like a little bit arranged according to the teacher's preference. Like if you want to learn more about sloths, it can also be only on sloths or about all of our animals here. You can also adopt an animal as a classroom, which is super, super exciting because instead of having an actual animal in your classroom, you're actually helping an animal that needs those funds to take care of them, medical supplies, and all of that. You can adopt a species or an animal in particular, and they're really, really fun to do. You also get updates, and you can get calls with that animal in particular.
All right. Well, I will share a link with the classrooms after this event, and they can learn more about symbolically adopting a sloth at the Toucan Rescue Ranch and help out with really important conservation work.
Thank you, Joe.
Of course. Classrooms who joined us on YouTube, thank you for the great questions. Thank you for playing Kahoot. Classrooms on camera, thank you so much. Let's pop a few of them in if they want to give a big wave, maybe a big shout out. Great to see you. And Andrea, as always, thank you so much for another great event on the Toucan Rescue Ranch. Keep up the good work.
No, thank you guys so much for the support. I really hope to see you again sometime in a virtual classroom or adopting symbolically an animal. So thank you so much, Joe.
All right, we're signing off for today. Thanks so much, everyone.
Bye. Have a nice